Namaste. I'm Nikita, and for those of you who don't yet know me, I'm an award-winning entrepreneur. I started my first business when I was just 20 years old, in a time where there was no internet access and no smartphones. When I look back, I wonder how people even found out about me. I was performing and teaching a niche style of Indian classical dance. Yet here I am 20 years later with my own dance and now yoga studio. A few years ago, I formed Journey with Nikita as a way to share my personal experiences with my professional skills. And that's exactly what I encourage people to do through my Dharma work. In this series of business mentoring videos, I want to share with you the things that I wish I knew when I started my business. Things are very different today as they were 20 years ago. So I hope that the things that I share will be useful to you and relevant for today's times. In my last video, I shared the 3 P's. If you haven't yet seen it, I suggest that you go back and watch that video first. As a refresher, the 3 P's are passion for whatever it is that you do, patience, and perseverance. So, assuming that you have those 3 qualities, we're now going to move on to the next part. Again, these are things that I wish I had known. I wish somebody had sat down with me at that time so I didn't have to go through all the trial and error that I did. And that's exactly what the next thing is about. It's about eliminating that trial and error process. Now, that doesn't mean to say you won't be learning as you go along. Of course, learning never stops. But what I wish I knew was create a business model that you would like to be sustained longer term. And what I mean by that is, in my last video, I gave an example of a lady that I knew who started a beauty salon, and she was an excellent beautician. She was working herself in a salon for many years. She built up a regular clientele, but she decided to go solo. So she set up her own business, but she had a plan that she would establish the business and within a few months she would step back. Now you might be wondering, why am I repeating the same story? There is a point to this, bear with me. So what would have been more useful for this lady to do, knowing that she wanted to step back? So it's almost about preempting, what do I want to have happen in the future? She knew that her lifestyle did not allow her to want to be in the salon 5 or 6 days a week, and that she wanted to be more of a silent owner and an observer, watching from the sides. So what she should have done in that situation is given her salon a generic name. She shouldn't have put her name in the title. And also, she should have immediately from the beginning got other beauticians involved. So from her point of view, she thought, well, there's no clients, so there's no point me paying beauticians just yet. What I'll do is I will start them off, and then once I get a steady flow of clients, I will then hire external beauticians to work with me and then eventually for me. However, in doing that, what she did was build up such a connection and rapport with her clients that by the time it came to her stepping back, the clients also ended up stepping back and leaving, and then she was without a business. So a business model to support her vision would have been, first of all, putting a name in the shop front that was a generic name, something that was not related to her name. A lot of people, when they start a business, they become very attached to it, so they want their name in the title. Now, I'm not one to talk here because in both of my businesses, my name is in my title. Dancing Nikita Company, which has now changed to DNC Studio, and the second one is Journey with Nikita. So I speak from experience when I say, if you're putting your name in your business title, in the business branding, then you need to stick around. Because the reason that people are going to come to you is because of that name that's on the door. If you don't plan to be in your business, or you don't want to be in it too much, you want to have other people, you want to build up staff or a team, I would suggest that you put a generic title, like, I don't know, in the beauty example, like beauty for you or crystallized beauty or something like that, rather than the person's name. That would be the first thing. The second thing, if you're not planning to stick around for long, is to get new people introduced from the very beginning. So don't do all of the work yourself. In fact, if you want to have that more managerial position, then start as you mean to go on. I know that when I used to teach all of the dance classes myself, I was teaching beginners level, intermediate level and advanced level. Then when I started stepping back, I said to my students, I only want to teach intermediate and advanced now. The beginners are going to be with one of my students or my team members. The parents of the students didn't like it because they were used to me. And so I lost a lot of people in that process. Similarly, once I started only teaching advanced level, I then started losing beginners and intermediate. And then eventually, when I stopped teaching all levels, I started losing across all levels. Now, that's not to say that the people that I was employing were not good. Of course they were. I wouldn't have employed them otherwise. And I trained them to my very best ability. But as I said before, people buy from people. And what that means is they want to build up rapport. They want to have that longevity, especially in something like dance, which is more of a gradual progression. Now, something like beauty, you might say it's okay if my, facial lady changes or my waxing practitioner changes. Even like your hairdresser, you might find it a bit, like baffling when you go to your hairdressers and they say, actually, sorry, your main hairdresser's not here anymore. It might be like it throws you off a little bit. I find that the same way with other people. So when I'm a customer, I really want to know who I'm going to. For some people, it doesn't matter so much. They go, they get their job done, and they come away. Like their hair, for example, they might change and they might have different hairdressers all of the time. But I personally, as a customer, I get quite baffled when I'm not having that consistency with my suppliers or the people that I build up trust with. You probably know if you've moved away to a new area, you then have to find new people in that area, and it can be hard if you're not used to change. So my tip for this video is create your business model according to your long-term vision. So it's almost about working backwards. So it's thinking, what do I want to do in future? Why am I building up this business in the first place? If I want to build it up because I want to then sell it eventually, the business model needs to work accordingly. Am I building it up because I want to be doing the work until I retire? Then the model needs to also work accordingly. Like with Journey with Nikita, for example, I plan to do the work in that business face to face with clients for the rest of my life. I plan to until I retire, and even then I don't think that I would stop. I plan to be that person, the face of my business and the person that's doing all of the client facing work. Whereas in my dance and yoga studio, I have now taken a managerial position, and that's why I changed the name officially. It was Dancing Nikita Company, but I changed it on Company's House to DNC Studio, so it became a more generic name. So do you see how the business model changes depending on what you want the outcome to be? So your task for this week is to really start to think about, what do I want my future of the business to look like? Do I want to be in it for the rest of my time, or do I want to have perhaps a shared role, maybe a partnership, myself and a colleague or a friend, or even, your partner, husband or wife? How do you want your business to be? Because that's what you need to do. And the second thing that I'm going to give you to take away today is the products and the services that you offer. They have to be what you want to offer. Now, I know this sounds really obvious and you're probably like, well, of course, I'm not going to offer something I don't want to offer. But what I mean by that is a lot of people, they put offers out because they think that the market needs them, or they think that people want them. I don't want you to think like that. I don't want you to think, oh, it's Valentine's Day, therefore, what can I put out? Yes, of course, seasonal offers are great, and you might want to do that further down the line. But initially, when you're starting out, you really need to think about, what am I all about? What can I give to people? So I'll give you an example. In Journey with Nikita, when I first started, I remember saying clearly to my husband at the time, I said, and when I say husband at the time, I meant at the time that I said it to my husband, not that I've changed husbands or anything. But I remember telling him at that time that I want to take people on a journey, and that journey looks like this. There's 3 stages to it. There's a healing stage where you heal your past. There's a well-being stage where you introduce well-being tools into your present. And there's a personal development stage where you think about the future. And he said to me, how long is that journey going to take? And I said, approximately 9 to 12 months. And he said, do you think people will go for it? Because that sounds like a long time and it's a lot of investment as well for them. And I said, yeah, actually, you're right. I think I won't do that. I think I'll offer each stage of that journey individually. So do you see how I tweaked my offer to suit the public? Now, this didn't serve me well. And I'm sharing this with you because, again, this is an example of a lesson that I've had to go through trial and error to get to where I am today, where 3 years into doing that, offering the individual packages, healing, well-being, personal development, what was happening was clients were coming, they were having an amazing experience with me, but they were not getting long-term transformation. So for example, they would come to me for a course of Reiki ritual, which is my signature treatment. They would do 6 sessions. They would completely heal their blockages, all of their past trauma, everything that they'd been through. I know it sounds like it's far-fetched, but it actually does happen. In 6 sessions, I was really able to get them amazing results. But then they left and they didn't do the second 2 parts because I made them optional. And I made them optional because I thought that if I make it compulsory, people won't even go for the first part. So do you see, my limited thinking was from lack and from fear. I thought if I make sure that they had to do all 3 parts, they're not even going to do 1 part with me. And then I'm not going to have any clients at all. And then at the end of those 6 sessions, I said to them, oh, you do know that there's another 2 parts. And they said, almost all of them, not all, I mean, there were some that carried on, but almost all said, do you know what? I feel great. I feel like I've really healed my past now. I don't feel like I need any well-being tools, or I don't feel like I need to pursue my purpose in the future. I think I'm in a really good place now. And I felt disappointed, not because I was not going to get business from them. That's one aspect of it, of course. But I felt disappointed because I knew that there was more work to be done. And I knew that they had only completed 1/3 of their journey. And if they felt amazing now, how amazing would they feel if they completed all 3 parts? But they didn't do that. So really and truly, what I was doing was I was putting a plaster on their wound. I wasn't actually fixing the wound. And then a few months later or a year later, some of them came back to me and said, I'm in the same position now. I'm feeling stuck again. And that's when they started part 2 or part 3. But the reason I'm sharing this with you is because I don't want you to put an offer out just because you think that's what people want, or what you really want to put out is what they don't want. So it's really, really subtle but I really want you to take this away. I wish that I had stuck to my guns, and when speaking to my husband initially and saying, I want to take people on this whole transformational journey and I want them to really heal their past and be able to cope with their present and really pursue their purpose in the future, that I had created this 12-month package and made it compulsory. Yes, I would have got less clients. Of course I would have got less. But those clients would have had that full transformation. Financially, it would have been viable for me. And from a time perspective as well, from an energy perspective, I'd only be giving my time and energy to those few people rather than lots of people, which I did over the last 3 years. And they would go away with that complete, holistic, well-rounded transformation rather than just a little bit of it. Now, I'm not going to say that I have major regrets because I'm a spiritual person and I believe everything happens for a reason. So when I look back on the lessons learned, I think that perhaps I had to go through serving that many clients to really build up my own confidence and to be able to realize how much of an impact I can have on people. But from now we're in 2025, as I record this video, my new business model is based on the whole package. It's based on the whole journey. And if someone comes to me and says, actually, Nikita, I only want a part of that, I say, well, I'm not the right person then. Because I'm somebody that wants to take somebody from being really, really, really stuck in their current position to thriving and flourishing in their ultimate desired purpose. That's really what I'm about. I'm about helping people find their Dharma and live their Dharma. So what I've been doing over the last few years is helping people find it, but not live it. And do you know how sad that makes me? I'm actually almost welling up now because it makes me sad. Because they've touched it, they've almost seen it, but they haven't actually quite got there and started living it. They haven't executed it. So they know what it should be. They know like, oh, this is the reason I'm on earth. Oh, right. But they haven't yet started living it. Like I'm living my Dharma. You could probably feel that right now, my energy. This is me. This is the way I am now is the way I always am. I'm not trying. I'm not pretending. This is me showing up in my truth. And the people that I was serving, unfortunately, some of them, not all, again, I have had many case studies and many successful people that have gone through the whole process with me, and I'm very proud of them. But when I look back, I realize that it was my fear that stopped me from being able to take those people all the way, because I never offered them the 3-part package that I knew would really help them. And I see it now with people that I mentor. So I mentor a holistic therapist, and she specializes in a very healing form of massage. So it's not normal massage. It's not just working on the physical. It's working on all layers of the body, the chakra system and everything. And I say to her, how many sessions do people need to really be able to cure themselves, their health, and to have that vitality? And she says, if you're asking me honestly, 8 to 10 sessions. And I said, well, how much is that going to cost? And she said, well, 800 to £1,000, based on each session being £100. So I created a plan with her whereby she started offering that package. And she said that I only offer packages and you need to pay minimum £800 to work with me. And guess what happened? She didn't get many people. So she got disheartened because people were saying, well, I only want to come for one session. And so we tweaked her model and we said, okay, let people come for one session, but after that they have to upgrade and they have to do the remaining 7 sessions if it's a course of 8. And again, she had some resistance. Her clients didn't want that. And so she gave up on that idea. And so she decided to only offer individual sessions, and now she's quite successful, like she's running a business and it's working, but she's not doing what she really wants to do. So again, she's putting a plaster on the wound because people are coming to her for one treatment, then they're having a few months break, and then they're coming back, and it's too sporadic. She's not getting them the outcomes that they really deserve. And so it's making her feel really like disappointed, disheartened, because she knows how much she can help them. She herself has been through that process where she knows that it takes time. But because of that fear element, the same fear element that I had in me, it's probably why I attract clients that also have that fear in them, that she wasn't able to really deliver and offer a package because she thought people wouldn't go for it. Now that I've had so much experience in business, I look back and I realize the reason she got that resistance from the clients was not because she wasn't good enough. It was not because she didn't believe in what she was doing. It's not anything to do with the treatment. It was because she wasn't communicating the value of having a course of treatments. She was just offering it to them as an option. So she was like, well, you could sign up for 8 or you could sign up for 1. So of course people are going to go for the easy option. So what I encourage you to do is, there's so much to take away from this video. The main thing is create your offers based on what you want to do rather than what you think the public want from you. And the second thing is to communicate the value of what you are offering them. Make sure people know why it's important to go for that course instead of the individual session. Why it's important for them to come twice a week instead of once a fortnight. Whatever it is that you're offering, make sure you explain clearly the why. And I promise you, if you do that, you will get the right people. You still might get some resistance, but that means they're the wrong people for you. In order to get the right people, you need to create the why. Why is it important for you to do X, Y, and Z? So I really hope that's been helpful. Sorry if I went through it in a roundabout way. It's quite an in-depth thing that we're exploring here, but I really believe this is the fundamentals of creating a sustainable business. What I want is for you to take out the trial and error, as I said earlier. I don't want you to go through those first 3 years of struggling and figuring things out and creating offers and having knockbacks and feeling disheartened, because I know what it's like. When you put an offer out and nobody goes for it, it makes you feel bad and you think that there's something wrong with you. For so long I was doing that. I was putting out self-love retreats every Valentine's Day and I wasn't getting anyone sign up for it. And then one day I thought to myself, is that really what I want to be offering? Like, is that really me? And actually, when I asked myself intuitively, no, it wasn't. I was putting it out because it was seasonal and I thought it sounded good and I thought that people would go for it. So it's always about looking at where am I coming from when I'm putting out my offers? What place am I coming from? Is it deeply authentic? Is it really me? Is it coming from my higher self? You've probably seen some of my other videos. I talk a lot about the lower self and the higher self. The higher self is that intuitive mind. It's that part of you that knows all of this. Everything I'm saying here is nothing new. You know it all. Hopefully you've resonated with it because it's already within you. Whereas the lower mind operates from fear, lack and scarcity, which is where I had operated from when I started. And in my case, I got influenced by others around me who said, oh, well, actually, maybe that's not going to work. But when I started my dance company 20 years ago, I also got the same feedback from people around me. They said, oh, Nikita, I don't think it's going to work. It's a niche form of dance. And I don't think there's enough scope in this country. I don't think your dance company is going to really make enough money to be lucrative for you as a career. Yet I went ahead anyway. But when it came to starting my second business, Journey with Nikita, I listened to other people's views and I said, oh no, I shouldn't offer that 12-month package because they won't go for it. So I hope that you appreciate me sharing my personal story here, my journey that I've been on. I've had to, it's taken me a lot of courage to be able to share this with you. And like I say, it's coming from a place of really wanting you to flourish and thrive. I believe 2025 is the year that we are all going to at least step into our Dharma. Even if we don't fully start to execute and live in it, we at least plant the seeds towards it. So I hope this has been helpful. Please leave your comments, likes, and if you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe to my channel below. Thank you. Namaste.